How did you accidentally make someone lose their entire mind? When someone takes you to court over a $40 plastic skeleton, you know they've completely lost the plot. I was standing in small claims court trying not to laugh, while the HOA president Robert presented his case for why I should be forced to surrender my motion-activated Halloween decoration as compensation for the emotional damage it had supposedly caused his family. He'd brought a briefcase full of testimonials about how my skeleton's automated cackle constituted psychological warfare against the neighborhood. The thing is, every single testimonial was written in the same handwriting with the same purple pen, which told me Robert had spent an entire evening writing fake complaints from different personas. And even more ridiculously, I knew Robert didn't hate my skeleton at all. Quite the opposite, in fact. The whole ridiculous saga started 3 Octobers prior when I bought this skeleton at Spirit Halloween during their closing sale. The thing was marked down to $40 from $60, and honestly it was pretty basic, except for one thing that made it special. Instead of the usual generic witch cackle or ghostly moan, this one had recorded some voice actor who genuinely sounded unhinged when he laughed, like someone had hired an actual crazed killer to do the audio. I thought it was hilarious, so I bought it and set it up on my porch, where it would cackle at anyone who walked past. The neighborhood kids became obsessed with what they started calling Crazy Larry, even though I never gave the skeleton a name. They would dare each other to run past him or try to trigger him without looking at his glowing red eyes. Parents started texting me to thank me, because their kids actually wanted to go on evening walks just to visit Crazy Larry. I figured I was providing a community service by giving everyone a fun October tradition. Then, Robert showed up at my door one night holding a clipboard and doing his face that meant someone was about to get fined for their grass being half an inch too long. But instead, he just stood there staring at my skeleton and setting it off over and over again. After the 7th time hearing the cackle, he turned to me and said, "I need you to give me that skeleton because it belongs at the HOA haunted house event where everyone can enjoy it." I laughed because Robert had literally canceled the HOA haunted house 3 years ago for being too expensive. When I asked what his plans were to bring it back, he just sputtered and demanded the skeleton again. He said it was just a piece of plastic and I was being selfish by keeping it to myself. When I said no, Robert's eye started twitching, which should have been my warning sign. He came back the next night with printed pages from eBay and Amazon showing similar skeletons for sale and demanded to know why I wouldn't just buy one of those and give him mine since they were all the same anyway. I tried explaining that I liked mine and that none of those had the laughing feature of this one, which he clearly knew, and I had bought it with my own money from my own porch. Robert kept insisting that as HOA president, he had the authority to requisition holiday decorations for the greater good, which is absolutely not a real thing. After that, Robert started sending me official HOA violations for the skeleton. First, it was improperly secured decorations. Then it was creating a public nuisance. Then it was displaying decorations outside of approved holiday windows, even though it was literally October 15th. Each violation came with a fine that I refused to pay because they were complete fabrications. Robert would stand on the sidewalk outside my house for 20 or 30 minutes, just staring at the skeleton and taking photos from different angles, like he was documenting evidence of a crime scene. I found out from my neighbor that Robert had been going door to door asking people to sign a petition to make me surrender the skeleton to the HOA. When nobody would sign it, he started telling people that the skeleton was stolen property that actually belonged to the HOA, and I was holding it hostage. He tried to organize a neighborhood meeting about the skeleton crisis, but only his 5 board members showed up, and apparently they spent the whole hour listening to Robert explain his theory that I had bought the last perfect skeleton on purpose to spite him specifically. So Robert filed an actual lawsuit, claiming that the skeleton's laugh was a form of harassment targeted at his family, and demanding I surrender it as damages plus pay $5,000 for intentional infliction of emotional distress. His lawyer actually showed up to court and kept a straight face while arguing that my refusal to hand over a common Halloween decoration for free demonstrated malicious intent to cause psychological harm to the HOA board. When my turn finally came to respond, I pulled out my phone and started playing the security footage I'd been saving for this exact moment. The first video showed Robert in my yard at 2 in the morning trying to unscrew the skeleton from my porch with a drill. The second showed him offering a group of teenagers $100 each to steal it for him, which thankfully they declined. But the best video was Robert on my porch having a complete mental breakdown, crying actual tears while telling the skeleton, "You should be with me. You belong with someone who understands your true value, not this selfish nobody who doesn't even appreciate your authentic 2021 pre-recall voice box." The judge watched Robert sobbing and hugging my plastic skeleton on camera, then slowly turned to look at him in the courtroom and said, "Well, that was certainly enlightening," but neither of us was prepared for what she would say next. Full story on the channel below.